Finding love in this day and age has been challenging. More like damn near impossible. And I think it has something to do with the way I love. See, I'm an old school type of romantic. I believe in grand gestures, touching letters, an outpour of emotion, and infinite longing. Basically everything that contemporary love devalues. I can't seem to reach the romance. I've had some attempts, but with no luck. I mean, I've swiped right countless amount of times, but the women never seem to return the favor. I would love to learn the art of seduction through texting, but my emoji game is fucked. And I've yet to successfully slide into direct messages or DMs. I had just about given up my search for love and was ready to settle down with my good old friend pornography. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, this incredibly cute yoga enthusiast came into my life and shook me up. Just like that, the search was back on. Her name was Juliet. Seriously, that was her name. As a hopeless romantic and theater geek, how could I not pursue this girl? We met in a speech class my second year of community college. I couldn't take my eyes off her. For one thing, she was the new girl in class, so she was automatically more interesting than all my other classmates. We broke into groups that day, and I spent the majority of class time repeating glances at her. I couldn't figure out why I was so drawn to her. I felt a nervous sensation in the pit of my stomach, a clear sign of my immediate beguilement. I wanted to talk to her after class, but for fear of ruining my first impression, I backed off. I wasn't ready for the grand gestures yet, but there was a longing to see her again. After a couple of weeks of speech class, I finally worked up the courage to talk to her. I wanted to say something romantic, something smooth, but alas, the first thing I said to her was, "Hey, how's it going?" I nailed it because she said, "Hey," back. We began having regular conversations after class, and we would walk together to her car. To be honest, those short walks from the classroom to the parking lot were some of my favorite moments from college. This was a good sign. The more we talked, the more I learned about her. She revealed little factoids, one being that she was a sucker for corny jokes. From that point on, I made it my personal mission to have a fresh, corny joke at the ready. What do you call a fish with no eyes? A fish. It was much harder than I initially thought it would be. Yet, every time I made her laugh, my days got infinitely better. What started out as a simple crush was evolving at a dangerous pace. Then my first grand gesture came. After about a month or so of knowing her, I got her a gift on her birthday. Now anybody else would have just sent a simple text, or a Facebook post, or a funny picture with the caption, but this is me we're talking about here. I got her a birthday card with a very heartfelt message, a bag of candy, and some very delicious key lime Greek yogurt. It was a humble gift, but if I could have afforded to buy her jewelry or flowers, I might have. It was, sorry. She sent me a text the next day telling me thanks and that she really liked what I got her. My grand gesture worked. It wasn't instant love after that, but it was set in motion. We enjoyed each other's company, and it was obvious when I interviewed her for a project. We were alone in a classroom, in an empty classroom, and we really got a chance to know each other. This is the kind of moment I was searching for. I didn't see it as just one classmate helping out another. I saw it as two souls gleefully basking in their connection. This was another good sign. And after the semester was over, my longing to see her grew by the day. The next semester, we didn't have class together, but we still kept in touch and frequently met on campus. I looked at it like fate. A common saying is that if something is meant to be, it will eventually keep finding you. The downside of loving the way I do is that the deeper I get into my search, the more out of touch I become with everything else. This was a risky consequence that comes with the territory, but I was willing to take that risk. I finally asked her out to lunch, and she said yes. I felt like a straight up pimp. Everywhere I walked, I had a Curtis Mayfield soundtrack playing in my head. This was my chance to go from friend to passionate lover. The search looked to be successful. I had everything played out. I'll make her laugh, lay out the charm, go for a little affection, and boom, done deal. The game plan went right out the window with one word. Buddy. She called me buddy as soon as she saw me. Her would-be term of endearment was a clear sign of something I wanted to avoid. See, buddies don't get kissed. Buddies don't get affection. Buddies don't get touched. Not the way I wanted to be touched. Why buddy? I mean, call me by my name, or hey you, or hey handsome, or hey you Herculean fuck machine. Any one of those would have been better than buddy. I was left facing an internal battle, a personal civil war between my old school and modern love. The old school in me was saying, no matter what, never stop pursuing, keep trying, love has no limits. The modern lover was saying, leave the friend zone, find a girl to Netflix and chill with, and move on. I kept drifting further and further into this fantasy, trying to combat the very apparent reality. But like I said, the way I love can keep me blind. No matter how many times she hurt me, I would still persist. Every text that went unanswered stung like 1,000 needles. Every excuse that she threw my way belittled my love. All those apologies that she gave me, I appreciated, but I didn't want her apologies. I wanted her presence. I hated what I had become. I hated that no matter how many times she would leave me wounded, I would love her still. I decided to stick with it and attempt the impossible. Conquer unrequited love. There was one thing I've yet to try. The outpour of emotion. The age-old proclamation of love. My Hail Mary play. We went out for drinks, and I was glad to see her. The night started out great. We shared some laughs and properly caught up. The whole night, I was filling myself up with liquid courage. Truth be told, I became a little too courageous. We reached that point when we were getting ready to leave, and I asked if we could talk for a little more. The outpour began. I let it all out and held nothing back. I told her since day one I wanted to be with her, how all I wanted was to be by her side, to be her support, to be her savior. She didn't want to be saved. She didn't want me in that way. Hearing the words, "It's not gonna happen," from Juliet was the end of my search for love. But, to be fair, she did put me down easy because we developed a history, and she did care about me, and the last thing she wanted to do was hurt me. There was nothing left for me. At least I foolishly convinced myself of that. So during a family vacation to Ecuador, I made the decision to stay there for as long as I could. I just couldn't be here in this isolated realm of heartache and self-loathing. I had to rip myself from everything I've ever known to figure out what I really have to offer, not only as a lover, but as a person. I was reminded of that as soon as I got back. Somehow, out of pure luck, these two gorgeous and incredible women came into my life and decided to share me sexually on a somewhat regular basis. I still had the love and endless support of my family, and I was extremely overjoyed to be reunited with my insane but genuinely great friends. And I still had theater to call my artistry home. I wasn't blind anymore. In fact, I was touched. I'm still an old school lover, but just a little wiser. And you know what? It was worth the search.